Good morning, guys. It's 7 a.m. I sleep very well kasi kahapon hindi ako nakatulog sa airport. Pumunta ako sa airport ng sobrang aga. Na-delay, na-hold sa immigration. But at the end, thankfully, nakarating ako dito sa hotel. Kahapon I already started my tour. Self-guided tour ako lang. Umikot lang naman ako sa Old City. But today I'll be joining a group tour. The itinerary is to see Bethlehem and Palestine.
Hi Camel, how are you? Hi. Magandang umaga kabayan. So, naglalakad na tayo papunta sa pick-up point para sa Dead Sea tour natin. Medyo mahaba-habang lakad. Nakita ko 19 minutes, so start early tayo.
Ayan kabayan, etong nilalakaran kong ito ay sa labas lang ng Old City Wall ng Jerusalem. Exactly yung location ko ay nasa front of Damascus Gate. As you know, there are 8 gates available sa Old City Wall. And 7 of those gates are accessible pero yung isang gate ay closed, barricaded, so hindi siya bukas.
Kaya-kaya. Ganda naman ng panahon, hindi masyadong mainit. So, sakto lang. Run. Tawid-tawid. Ayan yung Jerusalem. Early morning at 7:30. On my left side is yung Western Wall. Ito naman medyo pataas. Nakakahingal. Yun yung nakakapagod na part. But it's all good. Ay. Good morning from the city of Jerusalem. It's 23 degrees Celsius outside today. It's a good weather. Medyo malamig ng konti. Kaya lang yung nilalakaran ko nakakaingal kasi pataas siya. I'm trying to find yung pick-up point for the tour. For today's itinerary, pupunta tayo ng Bethlehem, that's number 1. And after that, drop off nila tayo sa Dead Sea to swim. Wala, hiningal na ako. Kaya lang guys, hiningal ako, manood muna kayo. Okay, maghahabol ng hininga. Yan naman yung train nila. Bye-bye. Going to the Citadel Hotel, nakita ko tong sign na to. Kagabi ko pa ito hinahanap. This is the sign going to Jaffa Gate. Pero wala na tayong time. Maayos tong side na to ng Jerusalem. Kakaiba siya compared dun sa pinag-stayhan ko, which is the Muslim quarter. Ito yata map of Jerusalem. So, Jewish side. Ano yung itsura ng Christians? I wonder. Anyway, I'm here at the Citadel Hotel na finally naabot ko rin. And from here, hihintayin na lang natin yung bus para sa tour. It's a full day tour, so I hope I can enjoy swimming in the Dead Sea despite the scorching heat of the sun. Charot. Ayan, naghihintay din sila. This is the David Citadel Hotel. I arrived 10 minutes early, kakalakad ng mabilisan. Nandito na ako sa my David Citadel Hotel. And I'm just waiting for the tour operator once he arrives. Punta na kami ng Bethlehem first and Dead Sea. I'm excited for Dead Sea, especially. Bethlehem also, I'm excited.
Finally, dumating na yung tour operator namin. So, we're on our way to Bethlehem. But before we reach Bethlehem, sabi ng tour operator, ang first stop muna namin is the Shepherd's Field. Shepherd's Field ay located in Beit Sahour. That's in the border of Palestine and Israel. So, tandaan mo kabayan, if you took this tour or if you took any kind of tour na magko-cross ng border, you have to make sure na dala-dala mo yung passport mo and pati yung entry ticket or stamp or whatever they call it, yung blue ticket na binibigay sa Tel Aviv International Airport. You have to make sure na dala-dala mo yun because there are sometimes some cases na chine-check talaga ng mga officer in the border. Nung nag-tour kami, nakita ko yung ibang sasakyan, binubuksan yung compartment, binubuksan talaga yung sasakyan ng mga officer. Sa amin naman, thankfully, hindi naman siya binuksan or hindi kami pinagtatanong kasi we are part of a group, we are a small group na nagtutour lang naman talaga sa Bethlehem.
So I think some of you have the Dead Sea. Please go ahead for the shake. And some of you have Jericho. Who have Jericho? You have Jericho, and you are wall. So we can, because we have time until the opening time of the Cave of the Nativity, the birthplace of Jesus, we can visit it. And at the end of the tour, we will go to the one of the Olive Wood factories. We have the tour operator who will be waiting here.
This is Dia, our tour operator. Nakatira siya sa Beit Sahour and he will be the one to explain everything about the Shepherd's Field. Pero sabi ng tour operator namin, nagulat daw siya kasi 5 tao lang yung nagkuha ng tour na ito to Bethlehem. Usually, kapag nag-guide siya ng mga tours, meron daw 30 to 50 people na kukuha ng tour na to, na kumuha ng tour na to. But for today, 5 lang kaming kumuha. So that's good for us. Good for us kasi maiintindihan namin lahat ng sasabihin niya or lahat ng i-explain niya about the Shepherd's Field.
And in this area where the shepherds were kept watch over their flocks at night, and the angel of God appeared to them, announcing them that the Messiah was born, and they have to follow the star to see the baby laid in a manger. So this site we call it Shepherd's Field. Here, nobody knows the precise location where the angel appeared to the shepherds. It was somewhere in this area because they used to live in the caves in that time, in the 1st century. So here the Franciscans, they found caves and a Byzantine monastery dating back to the 4th century. This is why they decided to build a chapel here in this part of the city. We have another Shepherd's Field for the Greek Orthodox Church where they found the same things, caves and a monastery dating back to the same period, 4th century. So here, this chapel was built by Antonio Berluzzi, the Italian architect who built most of the Catholic churches in the Holy Land. You know him?
Yeah.
You heard of his name before?
Yesterday they mentioned. I know I didn't know it before yesterday.
Yeah, he
Very
built
stupid.
most of the Catholic churches, and he was famous. The 3 of you, Italian.
No, just the two
both.
ones. Yeah.
So he was famous because not only because he built all the churches, because all the churches that he built, he depicted the biblical story on the building of the church. So here, because we are in the Shepherd's Field, if you look at the shape of building, it looks like a shepherd's tent. I mentioned that the shepherds used to live in caves even, but when they want to travel from a place to another place, they need a tent. And if you look at the holes on the dome here, the glass holes, He put it here during the day at noontime when the sun is vertical. When you come to this chapel, you can see the sunlight entering into the church, giving the sense of the halo of the angel who appeared to the shepherds. So here, this chapel, we call it the chapel of the angels, and we don't have masses here in this chapel. The masses here in the caves and in the fields around this chapel. We will see one or two of these caves after. So normally before COVID-19, when we come here, you can see the sign. Visiting is allowed only for 5 minutes. We have to wait the groups to finish, then when they get out, we can enter. These days, as you see, there is nobody. And not only because of COVID-19, even summertime is the low season.
Yeah.
It's always like this. It's good for you. You see the green leaf because it was built by the donations of the Christians of Canada. And here in this chapel we have 3 apses. On each apse we have a fresco. It's a cosmic scene from the Gospel of Luke chapter 2, who wrote about the birth of Jesus. The first one we have here. Is there Nonni? Nonni? Okay. He painted these frescoes in the early 50s. So the first fresco here we have the Annunciation of the shepherds. Come closer, please. And you can see here how the shepherds they were living in that time. They used to live in caves. So our tour today will be in caves today. Here we have the shepherds' caves, and after we will go to the Nativity Church to visit the birthplace of Jesus. You know in the Bible it's written that he was born in a stable. But the stable in Bethlehem, it was a cave too. And the middle Grotto Church is a place where the Holy Family, they hid from King Herod, even they stayed in a cave. The second one here. You can see the cave of the Nativity, the adoration of the child when the shepherds, they visited the baby.
We're currently exploring the Shepherd's Field. Pakita ko sa inyo yung mga pinagsasabi ng tour guide. It's quite interesting place. Ayan. Ito na. Butas na ilong. May butas. But we're here. It's Beit Sahour. It's not yet Bethlehem. Later we'll be heading out to Bethlehem. Medyo mainit, pero hindi naman sobrang mainit. Hindi naman sobrang mainit. Sakto lang. Kaya may mga pinagsasabi na naman siya.
It was destroyed by the Persians. The Persians, they conquered the Holy Land in that time for 14 years, and that time it was a time of destruction for all the churches and the monasteries in all the Holy Land, except the Church of the Nativity. So here you can see, come closer please to see the remains of the monastery. We have here the olive oil press, and at the center there we have the winery, and downhill we have the cisterns. So in Bethlehem from the ancient times until today we have a shortage of water. We have a very big problem even these days because the only source of the drink water here is the rainwater. So in the winter time we have to collect the rainwater, and in the summertime we have to dig for the groundwater, which is from the rainwater. This is why if you look at the buildings there, look at the roof. We have the water tanks. So in summertime we have to buy the water from the Israeli company. This is why we don't have it every day. If you look at the toilets there, look at the sign on the toilet. No water. Closed because there is no water. But if you look at the settlement at the top, it's an Israeli settlement. At the top of the mountain, if you look at the roofs of the buildings, there is no tanks. Water there 24 hours a day. In Israel here, no. So this is why if you are driving by yourself in the West Bank or in Israel to know where you are, just look at the roofs of the buildings. If you find tanks, you can know that you are in Palestine.
This thing is not information. Parang naging private tour kami. 5 tao lang sumama sa tour. So, hindi masyadong crowded and maaga pa. Maaga pa. Mas na-enjoy mo. Mas masaya mag-ikot-ikot. Ayun na siya. Ayun na siya guys. Pakinggan ulit natin siya.
Where the shepherds used to live. We have to go down, but we need flashlights.
Buti na lang nagpa ako. Sinelas ko lang.
So this one of the caves is used today as a chapel. See the altar? A small group, we can have here a mass. And you can see the electricity. This is not from the time of the shepherds. So this is one of the caves which was inhabited by shepherds from the 1st century, and then in the 4th century when Constantine declared Christianity as the official religion from the Byzantine Empire, the monks, they used to live in the caves, in these caves, until they built their first monastery on the top of these caves. So here you have to imagine that these stones are not here, it's the foundation of the monastery. So the family in that time, the shepherds, they used to live nearby the entrance where they have the fresh air, and in the same place they used to live with their animals. The animals should be at the back of the cave. So this is the reason that the shepherds in that time, they were the lowest people in the society, because they used to live in the same place with their animals. And there, if you go inside, where's the altar? Look to the right side. The shepherds, they cut a tunnel in the rock to link this cave with the other caves. It looks like a secret tunnel, but it's not secret tunnel. But you can go inside. So until today, we have families in the Judean desert area still living in the caves.
Oh.
So because here we have lots of caves, you can say it's a cheap house for the poor people. So this stone is it's limestone. The limestone it's very soft. So here you can say it was the natural part of the cave, and because the limestone is soft, it was easy for them to cut more rooms inside the cave. So this part they cut it in the rock to make space in the cave. Groups making masses. 50 kilometers, the separation wall surrounding the West Bank, separating Palestine from Israel. But here we have a fence, depending on the topography, they make it. So in the city centers, it's concrete, where we have cars. Here, it's fields, they open the street and they make the fence. This street is only for the military, it's for military uses. And behind this mountain, we have a military camp. And this fence is electrical fence with a sensor. If you are nearby, they can know your location. Yeah, it's
very easy to just cut it such a big song. But here you have to really,
yes,
you have to by hand.
in the 1st century.
Yeah, you have to hammer maybe, and sometimes they're very expensive.
Back. Kita niyo ba? Ang background. Kinta, diba? Nakaka-amaze yung cave. Kuweba talaga. Dati lang sila nakatira. Even until now daw sa Judean desert, sa mga desierto, may mga nakatira pang ganun.
Right after the tour inside Shepherd's Field, diretso na kami sa Bethlehem. So I'll see you in the next video.